I think that was time well spent. That prep work is going to help out a lot. Welcome back to Freeman's Garage Extra. We are working behind the scenes on the 1956 Chevrolet 210 Club Coupe, which means it came with a special interior for this model only. Boy, oh boy, we got to get all this sheet metal bolted onto the front of this car, and we don't have a kit to do it. We're digging through a million pieces of hardware here, and, well, one way or another we're going to figure this out. Freeman's Garage is moving from a Texas city lot to a Oklahoma property of acreage with a massive shop building and plenty of trees to utilize to pull engines with. And we can't get this car up there unless we bolt all this on. Now, the actual bolting of all the metal onto the car will be on the regular Freeman's Garage channel. That's all linked in the description. Finish this video first and then go watch that, because right now you are hanging out with me, helping me sort through all this hardware, and it's all the prep work for that regular Freeman's Garage channel video, and there's more hardware. All I know is we better hurry up and get this done so that I can shoot the introduction to the regular Freeman's Garage channel video of bolting everything on the front of the car before our Mad Max grill gets crushed by that hood. We don't want that to collapse. Yes, call me a dork, but I thought this would look cool. I'm sure you appreciate it. This whole thing is balancing by a piece of cardboard from a clutch kit box. Boy, where do we begin? I know we're probably going to be short, some shims and that kind of stuff. We're not going to try to properly align everything. It's going to be a 95% front sheet metal installation. The main purpose is just to make this whole rig transportable on a trailer 500 miles. I don't want to just shove all the sheet metal inside the car, because then we can't use the car inside of the car to fill with other things that we want to move to Oklahoma. Okay, we need this. This is our radiator support. There's some more inside the car too that's part of this whole deal I want to get done on that regular Freeman's Garage channel video. This is part of it. This big honker goes underneath the front of the car. So we'll get that out so that we can figure out hardware for that. And we might as well do the battery tray, because if we get that bolted to the firewall, that's one less item in the car. And what do you think? Think we should figure out what we need for the radiator too? Might as well. The more space there is in here, the more I can cram in here. Ignore that. I don't know where that came from. And you know what? From here to here is about 43 or 44 inches. And then up to the headliner, it's almost 4 feet. I have 2 camouflage recliners that I might actually move inside this car. I bet you they would fit in here. Alright, we're getting distracted. Let's get this out of the way. There are some things that, get this out of here too. Some things that I'm thinking about bolting onto the car for moving, but I'm kind of on the fence on it. Our taillights, that's one thing where, they don't take up that much space, but I'd still like to bolt them on the car for the move. But, if we don't do the whole run in one shot, let's just say we end up at a truck stop or a hotel overnight for some unknown Hinson. Well, what if our taillights get stolen? Probably won't happen, but you never know. Maybe some midnight joyriders will just so happen to come along and see these big, cool, garish taillights and smash them just for fun. Or do I worry too much? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Okay. I think we'll... Yeah, let's do these. Why not? And there might be, okay, radiator. These leather Buick seats, they're electric. They're very heavy. They were in the car when I bought it. They're just part of the deal. I've hated those ever since day one. And I think I'm going to try to sell those real fast, real cheap and fast, and get rid of them. If those big heavy honkers are gone, that's going to give us a lot more room for moving things that we actually want. I'm going to get that radiator. Almost went through the floor. I just love how big these cars are. You know how heavy everything is. Ugh. Okay, there might be, there might be other things that we want to involve in this, but I think this is enough for right now. I'll just start with this. Now, one thing, since we're behind the scenes, I'll take the time to throw this in, is we now have access to the new Freeman's Garage property, but the current Freeman's Garage property, unfortunately, is not sold yet. So, we don't have to get out of here right now, but we are. I'm trying to finish moving as fast as possible so we can get the new garage space set up, which you will enjoy. But time is kind of the essence though. I don't plan on hanging out and living at this house for another month. I want to be here for less than a week and be gone forever, basically. So some things we have to make our minds up on. For example, these pieces here, they bolt there on the inner fender. Now, if we don't have, we might not want to take the time to figure all that out because these are just flat pieces of metal and don't take up that much space. And I don't even remember what all is in there. I believe the glove box is. That can go into the dash. But this is plenty to start with for now. This is going to take way longer than I want it to figure out all the hardware. But, and again, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough to transport, and it's not all going to have to completely come back off. We're just going to need little adjustments, or maybe swap out some hardware for some different hardware, figure out the shims, things like that later. But the point I'm making is all this will not come off and get shoved back into the car for another 100 years. You know what? The hood hinges are probably in that bag, so we'll have to go in there. But here's another behind the scenes thing. Since we're just hanging out, okay? It's not a Rambo film, okay? It's not non-stop action. We're hanging out here in the garage. I'm thinking that we should actually stop shooting this Freeman's Garage extra video right now and we'll clean this up a bit and then shoot the intro for the regular Freeman's Garage channel video that's for putting all this together, and then get back to doing what we're doing here, because I'm realizing to figure out this hardware, we're going to have to move all this around, and this took a long time to get this all set up, right? and I don't want to damage things any more than they are. So yeah, I almost just knocked it all down. So yeah, let's clean this up. Or well, I guess I'll clean it up because you don't have arms or legs, you're just a floating head. It's a good excuse. Welcome back to Freeman's Garage. Not the smartest thing to do. Okay, well that's all done. Let's go into this bag and find the hood hinges. Hopefully they're in here. Maybe they're under the gas tank. No, let's look in the bag. Okay, there's more than one bag. I'm not even going to show you what's in that one. That's for an extra channel video in the future. It has to do with this car, but it's not going to be for a long time. Okay, there's a headlight bucket, glove box door. Don't know if we're going to do those or not, but we might. Okay, here I see a hood hinge. Mirror, 1960. Okay, there's a hinge. There's a hinge. Bunch of big chrome pieces. And a bunch of smalls. Okay, just leave all that alone for now. Guessing this is 9/16 for hood hinge bolts. Let's move this out of the way. Remember, we're not doing the assembly right now. We're prepping, figuring out what we need so that the actual video on the regular channel can go a lot smoother. Okay, this is where our hood hinges go. We don't need to worry about what's left and what's right. We just know we got two hinges, which I actually wasn't sure. I didn't remember. Okay, we actually have all the hardware in place for them already. So those holes right there bolt to right there on the firewall. You can see we got the exact same thing over here. Slow start, I know, but we gotta just get something going here. Once we confirm that this hardware is not stripped out and it's good, then we'll pick up the pace. I want to make sure it's actually long enough too. So we got a flat washer and a lock washer. Plenty of room for adjustability. Yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't work. Threads are a little rough, probably just need some lubrication because they're not stripped out. Yeah, these threads are good. You know, I'm actually liking the fact that this car doesn't have nice paint on it and that we're not painting it anytime soon because it's so usable. You know, it's gonna be such a usable car. As long as we don't paint it, which, you know, I want to, but as long as it's not painted, we can Dukes of Hazzard it around corners on gravel roads. Okay, we're not cleaning threads and all that kind of stuff right now. We're just mainly making sure we got the hardware. Okay, man, that's awesome. I guess now we need hardware for bolting the hood to the hinges. Here's a good point about not trying to live at this house for another month and just want to get moved, is we could go through this and probably find some hardware that came off the front end of this car, but yeah, to dig, well, we could dig through it, but we'd have to, you know, wire wheel it and everything. It's just there's no time. On the bottom side of the hood here, on each side, we got two bolt holes right next to spider egg sacs. Ooh, spooky, don't get bit. And that is for these holes here. and they look smaller than what fastens our hinge to the firewall. Be nice if they're the same size. All right, let's find some of those. Okay, I went into that little tiny cardboard box, pulled out 2 bolts, and they work. Actually, there's a third one this size. If we only have 2, we can only do 1 on each side, which would be fine for transportation. And we know what size we need, right? But if we use this third one, it's got a different head on it, but I think it's the same size. Oh, it might be a different thread pitch. No, I think it's the same. This will do it right here. This will get us by. Can't believe out of all that brand new hardware we didn't have any this size. But I'll just stick these into the hood so they're ready to go for that regular channel video. And what should we move on to next? Okay, let's move on to our spider-infested battery tray, which will get cleaned one day eventually. Okay. That's our ground for a battery, so I think we've got 1, 2. Okay, and then we go into, okay. Yeah, we're a little bent here. But that's okay because all we need is the hardware. Let's see if this is the same size. Okay, this is bigger. And okay, yep, we gotta go. Might be the same size as our hardware underneath the hood. I don't know. You know what? It is. We don't have any of that. Son of a! Well, if I have time tomorrow/today to go to a hardware store, because it's so late right now, it's already tomorrow, I will do that and get hardware. Don't worry, everything's okay. But if I don't have time, or if that's the only thing we need hardware for, I'm probably not going to do it. We got to get this car moved to Oklahoma. Don't worry, everything's okay. Nothing's being damaged here. Oh, well, I guess the garage door is damaged. That's great. Yep, that's gonna help sell this house. Frickin' fantastic. All right, picking up the pace, moving faster. Here's our radiator support. Now this is a V8 radiator support, which means the radiator is going to mount on the inside of the radiator support. Straight 6 core support, radiator would mount on the outside. This is the first time I'm actually setting this on here in this car, and it looks like we're going to have room for a fan. And the water pump did come off of a 265, which is the original size engine that was in this car, brand new. Our holes are lined up. Now was carriage bolts from the factory that go in here. I did find these in this cardboard box. This is a cushion. There's actually one on the bottom side of our radiator support already. And this is a lock plate. Thing is though, I'm not 100% sure on what all we're gonna want for a perfect fitment for us. For us, right now, we're just gonna go with just regular bolts and just nut and bolt it on, and we can swap it out later if we feel like it. We just need to get this thing moved. Okay, well that's gonna work perfect. I actually just tried a longer bolt because I'm thinking, okay, so there's a cushion here, and I believe we need a cushion and a lock plate under here, and maybe even another plate. I think that the pieces that we found in the car are from when this was taken apart, would be my guess, because if we come back over here, you can see that all of this is underneath. So let's grab all this again. You know, I wonder if there's some more of this that's lost somewhere in here, but again, we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to, you know, get it 90% of the way. Actually, now that I look at this even closer, this is everything. So lock plate, plate, cushion, plate. So lock plate, plate, cushion, plate. Okay, so this will all go underneath. That's pretty cool. We're gonna go with these bolts here. And if you noticed in the manual, it doesn't show it using any washers along with the nuts. It says for the lock plate to bend the tabs to lock the nuts in place. I'm sure we'll swap these out for carriage bolts at some point for authenticity, but no pun intended. That's pretty rad. I believe we possess the tie assembly that goes across the radiator support. Yes, we do. Okay, so this goes across the radiator support. This is called the tie assembly, and it ties the fenders in. So it'll go, you know, pretty much like this. And then the fenders bolt to it. I just spit all over my hands. Actually, you know what? I was just looking at the assembly manual again. I had it wrong. I could just delete this and you'd never know about Freeman's Follies. This actually goes on top. Okay, well, it's a little bent. But you get the picture. We're not assembling it right now anyhow. Just figuring out what we need. How about this? I'm going to work on this on my own for a little bit. I'm going to figure out a whole bunch of hardware for a whole bunch of this. Kind of, you know, speed things up a little bit, and we'll chat on the other side. This is going to be awesome. Okay, I got all the hardware figured out now. There's actually a lot more in this box that we can use than I thought there was. There's a lot of these screws, which is what we need for attaching our radiator support to the inside of our inner fender here. So yeah, somebody took this apart and threw most of it into that box. Well, I think that was time well spent. That prep work is going to help out a lot. Now we got a good, you know, direction here. We can see the bullseye, but there's a lot more to it than that, such as what order of operations are we going to do for the sheet metal assembly on the regular Freeman's Garage channel video. Is the hood going on first? Is it going on second? Am I actually going to get this hood on here by my lonesome? And what other surprises might we encounter? So check the video description for that. I'm sure you'll like the video. And now I got to figure out how I can patch this garage door. What? This thing's made out of cardboard.